For you, this might have been a week or two since you saw the last video about Diablo 2 or Warcraft 3, but for me, I haven't actually edited a video for 2 months now, and for reasons like life and stuff like that. But I did have to rewatch all 20 hours of gameplay of this Diablo 2 episode, so even I didn't know what's gonna happen. Now, you might ask, but if I'm still doing the challenge, how can I not remember since I'm still playing it? And the answer is simple, I gave up. But I will talk about it later. For now, let's focus on the video. Duriel. Now, as you can see, I went back and farmed, because I have no plan against Duriel. I don't know how to actually defeat her, so while I was thinking of a plan or a strategy how to do it, I went back and leveled up. And I found a cool spot. Right after Arcane Sanctuary, you can go back to the teleport you came back from, and there is always an elite group there called Fire Eye. And it's a melee, they don't do that much, but most importantly, after they reach 50% of health, they pretty much became a target dummy, they just run into each other and do nothing. It was pretty much the perfect EXP farming since it's right next to the waypoint, and they do nothing. Well, it's not as good as the Act 5 one, but I'm not in Act 5 to farm that. So I leveled up and pretty much upgraded my decoy so it can survive more hits from Duriel instead of just being one shot. Now this episode might be on the complaining side than the fun part of the side, but I do wanna state some reasoning why I actually rage quit, why I actually gave up the challenge. And the first one, which is mostly my fault, not the game's fault, although I won't say the other parts are my fault, but this one is mine, which is poison build. Poison doesn't work in this game. Like, it would work if not 90% of the enemies would be immune to poison damage pretty much. I love poison, I love damage over time effect, which is the reason why I actually wanted to try poison, but in a game where 90% of the enemies are pretty much immune to poison, like Hollow Knights, Grandpas, skeletons, zombies, and they take almost no damage from poison, and later on it's even gonna be worse. Why is there a poison build in the game? To be honest, I don't really understand that part, and it is my fault that I went poison build and I also just went only poison build, which I should have done like go poison and lightning build, so if one of them is going to be immune to one, build, you can use the other build. But at the same time, if everyone is going to be immune to one build, then I can only use the second build, right? It's kind of weird. But again, this is my fault, but this is where it started. You can see how annoying it is that to clear out for an hour just one floor, so you can try, for example, Duriel for once, die under a minute, then you have to restart the challenge, you have to clear out the whole floor for an hour again, because no one takes damage. It started to being frustrating. And again, it's mostly my fault with the challenge ideas and for picking poison. But at the same time, I don't really understand why is there a poison build if no one is gonna take damage from poison. Now I will save the complaining for the end of the episode, I don't wanna ruin the video, and I wanna focus on Duriel, which was pretty cool fight in my opinion, to figure out how to do it. Now, once we reached Duriel and cleared out the way towards Duriel, there was a reason why I did it. To actually grab a shrine effect, which was mono regeneration. Now the reason I did it, not because I could kill the boss with it, no, I still have no chance, but pretty much to stall time. I needed to figure out how to actually defeat Duriel, and I wanted to enter in a fight with her, so I can start getting ideas what can I do to actually defeat Duriel. So bringing mono regeneration means I can summon more decoys, Valkyrie, meaning I can be in a fight for longer time and figure out how to actually defeat her. Now as expected, Duriel just owned me, I had no chance, I did like 10 to 20% damage with mono regeneration, but I expected that. But my decoy finally didn't die in one hit, but two, which was what I wanted, that's why I leveled up. And also, my gears started to grinding. I actually noticed a lot of things in the fight, but one really important thing that might actually help me to defeat Duriel without potion, without scroll of time portal, without pretty much anything. I had a plan. Although I was pretty happy that I had to clear out the whole bay for now killing colonize the zombies towards Duriel again. But this time I think I can defeat her. Now first thing first, what you need to know is enemies tend to attack the closest enemy unless they are locked into one attack, but after the attack they will attack the closest enemy again. So I put the decoy in the corner, run to the other corner, and with that we were far enough so Duriel doesn't actually aggro me. If Duriel is in one corner while I'm in the other corner, he's just not in my aggro range. All I had to do is make sure once Duriel finishes his attack animation and he will lock to the next closest target with that, decoy had to be closer than me and the decoy had to be in the corner. Once I did that and Duriel charged the decoy, all I had to do run to the other side of the map and camp the corner until I had enough mana to try again, throw a plague javelin, and slowly but surely killing it. Yep, that's the whole plan, and it worked. Now it doesn't look that interesting, I know, and it wasn't as wow, what a great fight, although it was pretty nerve-wracking for me because I was looking at the screen throughout the whole time, because just one little mess up, just one moment where the boss is a little bit closer than I expected and I'm being aggroed by her, because if she's not in the corner by a little bit closer to the middle, she will aggro me. I have no decoy or Valkyrie summon ready, which means I have to be ready and react fast or I'm dead. It took me a long time, around like 30 minutes. But it did work, and in the end, Duriel finally fell, and on to Act 3. This was a fun puzzle, I like this, but this is pretty much the last time I kinda liked the game before I actually rage quitted. Act 3 is probably where I realized that Diablo 2 challenge run wasn't a good idea to record, because 95% of the time I cannot use the footage I recorded, because all I'm doing is just killing enemies extremely slowly and grinding. And obviously I hate that, because as you know from WoW Classic, grinding is something I always gonna hate, but also I cannot actually use that as a content in videos because like no one wants to watch that. Even I don't want to rewatch this, but yeah, I kind of have to rewatch it. Maybe something happened, but nope, nothing happened. I'm just shooting enemies throughout the whole act, really slowly. But there was one floor I wanted to talk about, right before Mephisto, level 2. That floor took me 2 hours to actually finish, because everything was almost undead. Zombies, the little Stygian dolls, that undead skeleton thing that just ran towards you, but most importantly, grandpas. They just don't die. I reached a level that my magic arrow deals as much damage as the grandpa's health regeneration. I'm shooting a grandpa over 10 minutes just to kill one, and it's usually in a pack of 5 and sometimes being even a champion, and that floor was so huge and finding the next floor was so long. It took me, I'm not joking, it took me more than 2 hours to find it. This is where the annoying factor of the challenge started to rise more and more, and it wasn't hard now, for now at least, it was just nothing but frustrating and annoying. But we did level 2 and reached level 3, and this is where the glass kinda shattered. Right before Mephisto there was a group of consumable, which isn't strong. I already defeated multiple consumable, they are not special. But the reason I'm talking about is forced stop. The game took away the control of my character so many times and made me stop. They just cancelled my movement and made me stop, and I couldn't move. And in a game where the gameplay is pretty much just kite and survive, especially that I cannot use potion, taking away the character's movement is pretty bad and pretty tilting. Especially that I did figure out the reason why I did, and let me say it's a complete bullshit. Now you probably also figured it out by watching the clips, but I will talk about it at the end. But I just wanted to mention this, that this is where the rage started to rise, and this is where I started to tilt. And to be honest, I do believe it's a fair criticizing here that taking away the character's movement, which is pretty much the primary base of hack and slash gameplay, is never fun. And it wasn't a reasoning that, oh, I got stunned or anything. It's a complete bullshit reasoning, which once again I will talk about it at the end. Now Mephisto goes the same way as normal. I just shoot him in a safe zone, and yeah, not much to talk about. Even the Act boost is something I cannot talk about in Act 3 because how easily cheesable the fight is. And yeah, I was thinking actually to truly fight him, but if I die, that means I have to go through that grandpa stage again, and oh boy, I'm not doing that again, so I am gladly taking the cheese win. But yeah, I'm not gonna show you more about this. Mephisto died. Obviously, I'm gonna add in the description the full fights and the unedited clips of the whole journey, although once again, I do not recommend them to watch unless for some reason you love those things. I don't know why would you, but I do put them in the description if you still wanna see the full boss fight or something. Moving on to Act 4. Now after some farming I started doing Act 4, and if you remember in Norma there were an enemy called Venom Lord. Well, in Nightmare they are still here, and now they are completely immune to poison. They're just immune to it, straight up, not taking damage from any poison. That was probably the most fun thing I ever had, just shooting Venom Lords with magic arrow, which dealt no damage, for an hour pretty much. And then this is where I realized that before Diablo there is a 5 seal that I have to open, and one of the seal will summon a Venom Lord champion, which is probably the hardest part since they are extra fast, and now they are also gonna be immune to poison. This is where the real grinding pretty much started, every fight being even longer than before, and I thought the Grand was gonna be the worst one, but nope. Welcome to Act 4, where immune to poison is a normal thing, I guess. Thank you, Venom Lords. I really appreciate you being here. Now in Act 4 nothing really happened, I killed this one and we finally reach Chaos Sanctuary, which is where Diablo and the 5 seal rise. Now I reached the place at 3:15, and the reason I'm telling you the place so you can understand how long it took to actually just clear out all the seals. Especially that Chaos Sanctuary is actually full of Venom Lords as well, and as well as Undeads. Luckily the Ghost actually takes full poison damage, but the Doom Knights, which is still a strong Undead minion, take half of the damage of the poison, but most importantly, Venom Lords take no damage from poison. And once again, there is a seal with a Venom Lord in it. Now as expected, the Venom Lord seal is probably the worst part of this, especially that they have 100% of gaining extra fast. And also, because they are minions, they have way more health, and the real problem is they have also way more health regeneration. My best strategy is just somehow separate them, since if I kill the champion itself and manage to separate them from the others, they will actually die because that will summon Diablo, and for some reason Diablo actually kills everything in its sanctuary. But it took way too long to separate, and obviously I cannot fight more than 1 or 2 because 1, they just kill Valkyrie way too fast, and 2, because of the reason how much they're shuffling, I cannot actually shoot the same target over again because they just move so much and hide behind each other that they just body block each other, which means they will regenerate the life back before I manage to actually target the same Venom Lord. But slowly but surely I managed to actually separate them, killing the champion, and finally summoning Diablo. This experience felt like a true nightmare, which is funny because that's the difficulty I'm in. Now I finally reached Diablo and I finally thought the nightmare is over, because all I have to do is kill, and which I already learned how to do it normal. But he managed to kill me because I forget that fire will actually hurt me way more here, because my fire resistance is below 0% and I'm taking way too much damage. Which means I can actually start over again, clear out the whole Chaos Sanctuary, killing the millions of Venom Lords and the champion, to do a try again, because of the rule, if I die to the boss I have to restart. Fun, but I'm still on that rule because I'm not killing a boss by just simply killing it bit by bit. I actually wanna kill them normally. Now, once I finally cleared, I did a normal try on Diablo this time. Now, since it's dealing way more damage than normal, since, you know, it's Nightmare, it's harder, it meant that I'm taking way more damage, it meant that I had to return to the town more times than in normal, which means that the fight lasted longer and also he had more time to regenerate life. Yay! But it wasn't that bad because I still progress. Until this thing happened. In Nightmare, Diablo actually gains a new ability which completely destroys me, called Bone Prison. Once cast it, I just get locked into a prison, which is, funnily enough, immune to poison. And I just get bursted down by Diablo. Yep, I cannot escape the Bone Prison. There is multiple strategies to it. One, which is the most common one, to use town portal, go back to the town, return, and you're not in the Bone Prison anymore. But I cannot use that because it's consumable. 2, just kill it with a high burst single target damage. Which I do not have, which I have the poison, but he is immune to poison. So all I can do is get Bone Prison and die. I have no answer to this. This is something just completely counters me. My only solution is just to get lucky. If I get Bone Prison, I have to get Bone Prison behind the wall, so Diablo actually cannot burst me down while slowly but surely killing the Bone Prison. But it's full luck based, and you know my luck, I don't have any luck, so even if I get once or twice lucky, it just Bone Prison me again and kills me. I didn't actually find any answer how to do it. I even died to Diablo once with only remaining like 2% of his life, but it didn't matter because he casted Bone Prison, and that just kills me. There was no solution to this. My build just wasn't enough. I was thinking about changing talents to lightning build, but I cannot do that because resetting talents means that I have to consume a service from Akama. Because it's not infinite service, it's just only one time or technically 3 times use, but either way, it's a consumable. I cannot reset my talents to go lightning build, but even though I do not actually think that lightning build can actually kill Bone Prison neither, and I will explain that later why. The point was, this is where I kinda just gave up. I didn't have the patience for this because, once again, dying to the boss means I have to clear the whole Chaos Sanctuary with full of Venom Lords again and again and again, just to try the boss and die to it after like 10 seconds because he casted Bone Prison. And you can probably hear my frustration in the next clip that I'm actually gonna show you. Oh boy, this is gonna be so much fun. I can't wait to fight Diablo again and lose again because Bone Prison is OP without teleport or teleport. Yay! Let's lose! What could possibly go wrong? Nothing. I'm done. I finished. I'm not gonna continue. I hate this. It would be interesting to if I could only just fight Diablo. Yeah, this would be interesting. But the fact that I have to shoot Venom Lords for an hour without stopping, I'm done. This is not fun. This isn't fun. I could have done better, don't get me wrong. Probably, well, point of skill point is wasted. But I'm done. I had enough. Now I'm actually gonna cut myself here because I'm actually complaining for a long time. Mostly blaming myself and for going poison build, but also that why is 90% of the enemies are poison immune? But here's where I gave up, and you can sort of see it why. Grinding Venom Lords for an hour just so I can have a one boss try, which usually lasts for 10 seconds, it's not fun. You can do the math. For me to actually try Diablo 10 times, that means I have to waste 10 hours just holding left click on Venom Lords. I cannot leave the computer on anything, I actually have to watch the whole 10 hours to shoot Venom Lords. That's not fun. I wasn't enjoying it. So yeah, that's that. That's where I gave up. Why am I even trying to edit? It took me 8 hours to do this stupid compilation. It's not even cool. Oh, hi, James. How are you guys doing? As you can see, I didn't give up. You know, there is an issue with me. A big issue, which other people like about me, especially at work, but I hate it. And it's pretty negative for me. And that issue, I just cannot give up. If I have a challenge to do, I'm just not gonna give up. I'm not accepting defeat unless it's actually impossible. And I know this is impossible. So what did I do? I didn't give up. I started a new character. Why? You may ask. Because I cannot reset my skill points. So the best way to reset a skill point, to actually start over. Yay. And yeah, I did. Mostly because I didn't want that many points on Magic Arrow, and instead I put it in Charge Strike, which made the beginning of the level pretty bad because I had no way to actually fight, but hey, I did it. I'm here. I managed to do it. Yippee! Now, throughout the journey, I learned a lot of things because I'm actually taking this now seriously. At the beginning, I took it as a joke because, as I said, I thought it's gonna be just an easy, calm challenge. But then I realized that no, this sucks. So I take everything seriously, and I did what I'm best at: strategizing. Now I'm not that good at game. You might see the clips already, but I'm good at strategizing. So I paid attention every little movement, every way how the enemies fight, and I learned everything I could. Obviously, I didn't look up the internet because that's cheating. And I realized that a lot of things I actually didn't know. For example, how much I hate Valkyrie. Because she just walks around, not even fighting, not even tanking. The whole purpose of me getting Valkyrie was that she can tank. But nope, she just walks around. It's so inconsistent whenever she wants to fight or not. I hate Diablo 2 summons. WoW Classic was so much better by that. Or let's talk about Plague Javelin. Sometimes it just doesn't do its job. There is a giant poison cloud, yet no one gets poisoned. fun. I still haven't figured out what makes it possible. Like, I just don't know. But don't worry, I didn't learn only bad things about my abilities. I actually learned a lot of information that was really, really useful. For example, since I wanna repair my mistake, consumable don't actually have life steals, they just heal each other. I don't know if they can heal themselves, but they heal each other, so separating them is ideal. But also, ethereal items actually repair and replenish quantity faster. So javelin that's ethereal is really, really useful because they replenish quantity so much faster. Also, energy or anything that gives you maximum mana also increases your mana regeneration, which is way handier in this case because I don't have any mana. So energy points are actually really useful, which is weird because it's usually useless. Or if an enemy starts the melee animation, you cannot actually outrange it, you're gonna get hit, or you dodge it or you block it. Also, the force stop happens because you click out-of-bound, which is bullshit because every hack and slash game, it doesn't matter if you click out-of-bound, as long as you click towards a direction, for example east, your character will move east. But in Diablo 2, if you click east but that part of the map is out-of-bound, it instead cancels your movement, but also cancels your previous movement, which makes you stop. I call this bullshit. That's not how a hack and slash should work, but hey. And lastly, because I know the reason you're here is if I kill Diablo or not to listen to things that you probably already know, but I didn't. But this one was kinda useful for leveling, which is if you throw a plague javelin, then switch a weapon that has mana for each skill, probably also works with life, you gain actually mana once the poison kills them, even though you didn't use that weapon. That was pretty useful, because I needed mana. Most of the time I didn't have good mana regeneration nor mana stolen per hit, so yeah, that was good. Now, for Diablo, obviously we have charge strike so we can get out of one prison, and with that, it was no problem to die again to Diablo. I still can't destroy Bone Prison, and to be honest, I expected that whenever I use Charge Strike, I realized also that it's really bad against enemies that have small hitbox, and Bone Prison does have a small hitbox. I could not kill it before Diablo actually killed me. So the whole leveling through a new character, was it wasted? Because now it still can destroy Bone Prison, I still can get past Diablo. But it wasn't over. You know why? Because I already told you, I take everything seriously and I watch and learn. And that's what I did. I realized something really important about Bone Prison. Diablo actually doesn't start with the ability Bone Prison. He will gain that ability if a certain trigger or event triggers. Now, I don't exactly know which one can trigger it, but as far as I know, there is only two possibilities. Now, these are obviously not the codes, I'm not gonna write functions and anything for them, but you get the gesture from this if statement. This is the two possibilities that can be. One of them if the player is too far away from Diablo. Let it be in the town, out of Chaos Sanctuary, I don't exactly know what yard amount or meters amount that needs to be, but once he's way too far away from the boss gained the ability Bone Prison. That's one of the possibilities, while the other possibility is just simply the boss is idling for too long, he is not fighting, he is not in combat with me. That could be the other possibilities. Now, it means that if I wanna go back to the town to heal, or if I'm just AFKing in the corner to regenerate life, most likely Diablo will get the ability Bone Prison, which will be used on me and I will die. So I have two possibilities to fight Diablo. One of them is to get lucky. Once I heal up from the town or anything, I have to be really careful and make sure that whenever I get Bone Prison, I'm behind the wall so it doesn't kill me. That's really up to luck, to be honest. And you know my luck. I don't have any luck. So, what's the other option? is to just simply kill the boss without ever leaving combat with him. Never going back to town, or never just wait in a corner to regenerate life. But once again, that sounds again impossible since, you know, I don't have any potions, I don't have any way to heal in combat, so he will kill me slowly since I don't really have a good damage. But it's not impossible. Now I do apologize that the video was this dry, but keep in mind this is 50 days of recording, I was also busy and I'm still pretty tilted and frustrated by this challenge, so I can't really make jokes or funny edits this time. But I still hope you enjoyed it, and for the last I will just leave the video with the boss fight. And I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one.